From MTN Sports, welcome to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertsons Safeway.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Grizzly Insider here on the Montana Television Network. Alongside the voice of the Griz, Riley Corcoran, I'm Kyle Hansen. Montana 3-1 to end non-conference play after a wild 46-35 victory over Western Carolina. And Riley, let's just dive straight in. I mean, first quarter, yikes for the Grizzlies. Can't really say much more than that.
It was a rough start. And it's wild, right? Because we know how big of a home field advantage Washington Grizzly Stadium is. But the flip side of that is how motivated the opposition is to come in. This was the furthest road trip ever for Western Carolina football in their FCS tenure. So for them to come in, they came in out of the gates red hot. Give them a lot of credit for that. And in Montana, it was probably the worst start absolutely imaginable. But they kind of turned the tide a little bit, as we were talking about. The second quarter, Kyle, they did get their feet underneath them, and that was obviously huge because time was running out a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. Down 17-0, but man, Eli Gilman, what can you say, right? I mean, the season, first of all, he's putting together right now, but you look at that two-play drive, 8-yard run, then boom, gone. 60-plus to the house. You felt it change, right? You felt things kind of moving in a positive direction for the offense. The defense was getting stops because they had that stop in the first quarter, but then Montana turned it over. So it's like now you just needed everybody to kind of work in tandem, and you started to see that. But man, that second quarter kind of blow for blow, right? Because Montana's chipping away. Western Carolina gets the Cole Gonzalez throw over the top, to get another touchdown, but Montana didn't go away. And honestly, you go into that third quarter and the second half as a total, I think you started to see Kali'i Ayat and his composure, right, in the way they came back.
You did, and we are seeing the freshman grow up in front of our eyes. The reps that he's continuing to get now. He's already played in more snaps than he did all of last year, and it's just continuing to build. And we're going to get into the fourth quarter and the wildness of all of it, but we saw the first signature moment, I think, of Kali'i Ayat's career. For him to stand in it, he's got that backside pressure feel. He knows when it's coming, can spin out of it. He makes plays happen with his feet. And the rushing attack altogether, I think that he's a big part of it as well, Kyle. The turning point in that game, we totally felt it, right? The touchdown, the interception, back to the touchdown. And we were talking about that. That, to us, was probably the biggest key in all of it, as Montana was able to finally get the lead. Everybody from there, it felt like a brand new ball game.
Absolutely. It felt like exactly what a Bobby Hauck Griz football team does too, right? An opportunity to seize momentum, and that's exactly what they did. Because you get the lead, you get the immediate turnover because Western Carolina makes the mistake because it's a tip ball. Trevin Gradney comes up with it. 5 interceptions last year, gets his first this year, and then they turn into quick points again on Ayat's feet, which was really impressive with the game he had. It was interesting too because you look at the offense, right? Only about 36 yards in the first 2 drives. The final 12, 500 plus. You felt it totally change, and obviously in the fourth quarter, that last drive, I think, was exactly what they wanted to see.
It was. The adjustments that were made throughout the course of the game, incredible for both the offense and the defense. And give Logan Fife credit. He came in, delivered some great balls and key moments. How great was it to have Junior Bergen back? I mean, 8 catches, 99 yards, and it just felt that Montana, they have so much talent across the board, running backs, wide receivers. The go-to guy. Who's that go-to guy? There's no question to me. When number 5's on the field, you know that you can rely on him. And when it was crunch time, when Montana made that decision to go for it on 4th down, there was no surprise and went to Junior, and he delivered, and it was just a great collective effort. This is a huge building block, Kyle, to go into Big Sky Conference.
99 yards for him, 3rd most in his career as a Montana Grizzly, and Eli Gilman, $175 for a career high. And I mean, what he's doing at the top leaderboard of the FCS right now can't be understated.
It can't. He's number 1 in the nation, averaging over 10 yards per carry. Think about that. When he gets the ball, he's averaging a first down.
Yeah.
The explosive plays that the Griz have had this year, they haven't come in the passing game. They've been in the rushing game. He had 2 rushes of over 50 yards. And for him to continue to find the end zone. Griz are 13-1 when Gilman finds the end zone. So it's coming together a lot. And still, he hasn't had more than 14 carries in a game. So Montana still, they have that light at the end of the tunnel approach. It was a collective team effort and just a big-time win and a fun atmosphere.
Absolutely, it was. And we've got a great show coming your way. Junior Bergen will join us later in the show. But up next, Riley catches up with Coach Hauck to dissect the win over Western Carolina.
There's more coverage of the Grizzlies online anytime at montanasports.com. Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertsons Safeway.
And welcome back to the Griz Insider. A wild win inside Washington Grizzly Stadium last Saturday as Montana beat their 10th consecutive ranked opponent at home. They beat Western Carolina 46-35 after coming from behind 17-0. Here to talk about it with Coach Hauck. Coach, there were so many things that happened throughout the course of that game, but how proud are you of your team for the resilience to get down early like that and then to storm back and to win by double digits?
Well, certainly proud of our guys. You know, players and coaches, I just thought they did a great job hanging in there. As you and I were talking offline, you know, teams are excited to play here. It's a great college football atmosphere. It's one of the best in the country, and those guys on the other sideline are excited to be there too. And so that was a fierce battle to crawl back into it in the first half. And when we did that, we actually felt pretty good about it.
It was the longest road trip in Western Carolina's football history. They certainly were fired up to play, getting up 17-0 in that game. And then, Coach, the name of the game was adjustments and what you guys were able to do. And let's talk specifically on the defensive side of things. Cole Gonzalez, he's a phenomenal quarterback. He makes some throws you just got to tip your cap to sometimes. But what were some of those main adjustments when they got up early? You held them to just 8 points for a long stretch in the contest. That was huge.
That was huge to get some things straight. You know, Gonzalez is a really good player. They gave us some things in the throwing game that we were not leaning on stopping, certainly. So good job by them. You know, you can't take away everything. They hit us, especially on the first two drives, on some things that we weren't really trying to get after. And then we were able to right that ship. And then they didn't score much after that. So good job by our defense. Good job by our defensive coaches fighting that out, and our players coming back and making it happen.
Well, on the offensive side of things, it was the rushing attack again, Coach. In the modern era of Grizzly football, it's the most rushing yards in a two-game span from last week to this week, and you guys were able to just run at will. So the collective group, the offensive line, the tight ends, the running backs, what was opening up for you guys, and what was so key in making sure that you put up another 350 on the ground?
Well, first, it's comforting to be able to run the ball like that, right? Yeah. So, you know, if we're going to rush for 350, it's really unlikely that we're going to lose the game. Okay, now it may be tight, you know, and it's harder to run the ball like that when you're coming from behind. You have to be calm and persistent and just know that you're going to be able to control it, and we did. So the guys coming off the ball, the running backs are doing a great job. Everybody, the receivers are blocking in the run game. It's a team effort, and they're excelling at it right now.
Yes, they certainly are. The turning point in the game, and Kyle and I just talked about it and have to get your take on it as well, the touchdown, interception by Trevin Gradney, touchdown again. And it feels at Washington Grizzly Stadium, momentum is a funny thing, and it can just go in waves for the Montana Grizzlies, and that felt like the stretch. Take me through kind of what you remember from that touchdown, interception, touchdown stretch, just what the energy, emotion was like on the sideline, and how that really flipped the script on just that wild game.
Well, it's a really good question, okay? Because we're hanging on to the rope now. We're down 17. We scored on the big run, get back into it, and then giveaways and takeaways are big in football. They equate to wins and losses as well, kind of like those rushing yards. And when we took it away down in their end, and then we were able to go after them, that's when we started to feel better about the potential outcome being in our favor.
It's tough to really go to one play in a game that featured over 1,000 yards and 80 points, but the fourth down to Junior Bergen at the end to essentially ice the game, or at least at the time everyone could breathe a sigh of collective relief. Take us through the play call, the decision, everything in between, and obviously to have Junior Bergen have 8 catches, 99 yards, a phenomenal game for him.
Yeah, it's an interesting decision from the head coach's chair,
yeah.
A little bit, because if it's earlier in the game, we probably try to kick the field goal and try to go up by 6, but at that juncture, with it being there, a touchdown probably beats you, assuming they can make their PAT. So we thought that we needed 6 or to run out the clock, one of those two things, and so we went for it and got it. Big play by Junior, big play by Logan. It's well protected, it's a good call, you know, all those things that go into having success.
Final question for you, Coach. In non-conference, it's all about improving to get ready for Big Sky Conference play. From Game 1 to Missouri State to what happened on Saturday against Western Carolina. What did you like most as you guys had your journey through non-conference, sitting great at 3-1 going into league play?
Well, I think the way we're running the ball is great. I think our tackling is the last couple of weeks has been terrific for the most part. So we're coming off the ball on both sides. We're getting the ball carriers on the ground. There's always more plays to be made. That's football. But I think we're right where we need to be going into conference play.
Coach, it should be fun. East Washington coming up this week, and we'll chat with you throughout the course of the week. Congrats on the win.
All right, fired up for that, Riley.
All right, we'll have Junior Bergen and Kyle Hansen join us on the other side of the break here on the Grizzly Insider.
Get social with Grizzly fans and follow MTN Sports on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertsons Safeway.
And welcome back to the Grizzly Insider. The Grizzlies wrapping up non-conference play 3-1 as they head into conference play. Pleased to be joined by Junior Bergen, joining us after a huge game against Western Carolina. Junior, for you, walk me through what's going through your mind after a big win and kind of being fully back in the swing on offense for you guys.
Yeah, it was great to get back. Super blessed. God is good for just allowing me to get back out there and be productive and good to get a win.
You've had a little time to digest the game, but what a game, right?
Yeah.
Looking back at it, So what was it like kind of playing in a shootout like that? Really it was kind of blow for blow on both sides with you guys coming out on top.
Yeah, it was fun. It felt like a playoff game. I felt like everyone was kind of on edge the whole game, especially going down 17 right away. We just kind of knew backs were against the wall, but we still got to go. We'll be okay. So.
You guys are down 17-0 early, obviously, right? They come out, they're flowing immediately. But Eli Gilman rips off that huge touchdown run and kind of gets you back into the swing of things. Offensively, did it feel like that kick-started you guys when he did that?
Absolutely. And Eli's a special player. And, we just needed a spark, and he was the guy for us this week. And, he got us going for sure.
I think it's after your guys' first two drives, you guys had only about 36 yards on offense, and then from there it was 500-plus the rest of the game. Yeah. So as things kind of settled in, what was working offensively? How were you guys able to find your groove?
I think we ran the ball really well. I don't know exactly our yards total, but I think we ran the ball really well. Our offensive line held up. I think Kaylee was sacked once, and that was early in the game. So O-line up front, they did their jobs, and then obviously we ran the ball, and that opened it up for us as well on the outside.
So when you guys kind of take that lead, right, you finally take the lead, you're maintaining it the whole way, but that last drive, it felt like in the fourth quarter, really sealed it, but also showed you guys could, eat the clock. I think you got it with 8:22 left, and you were a big part of that. So walk us through that drive, some of the big plays you were able to make on third and fourth down and, seal it for you guys.
It was cool. It was special, especially not being out there all year, for them to kind of still come back to me and trust me. It meant a lot. I probably played the worst first half I've played as a Grizzly, so for them to still trust me and come back to me, it meant a lot.
It's a good segue into kind of you being back on the field, right? Because obviously you got a chance to play against Moorhead, but speak to kind of you getting back into the rhythm, right, after missing the first couple games. And, 8 catches, 99 yards. It felt like as the game went on, you started to kind of find yourself again. Yeah.
It's just something you can't really you can practice all you want, but you're not going to really get those same game reps. So just trying to find my groove and just keep my head, just even kill. Because I didn't play very well in that first half, and I just knew when the opportunity presented itself, I had to be ready no matter what. So that's what I just tried to do.
You're already prepared to hear about the fumble, I'm guessing.
Oh, absolutely! I heard about it right away, and Coach Hauck had said something to me on the sideline, and I was like, you're right. don't lose the ball. So, but.
You're a veteran. You knew it was coming, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. 4 games through, you guys finishing up non-conference play. A couple of ranked opponents, 3-1 as you guys get ready for conference play. Just how would you kind of speak to the mood of the team and just kind of the way things are going after really a difficult non-conference slate for you guys?
We feel pretty good about it. Obviously, we didn't want to drop that one that we dropped, but we just got to get back to work, continue to improve each and every week, and hopefully by the end of the year we're where we want to be.
It's interesting. Earlier in this interview, you were speaking. It felt like a playoff game, right?
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody's going to remember, what you did in the playoffs last year and what the team did to get you guys to Frisco. So to kind of see that atmosphere early on, how was that? To play something like that.
It was cool because the Moorhead State game didn't really feel like that. It felt like a regular season game. The game yesterday felt like just the energy was high and the place was rocking. It felt sweet.
Can you speak to kind of working with both the new quarterbacks, right, obviously, because you worked with Kaylee last year, Logan kind of in the mix now. What do they bring to the table, and what's it like catching balls from both?
Well, they're both highly competitive. They work their tails off, whether it's film, practice, recovery. They're both always just taking care of themselves and making sure that they're putting their best foot forward. They're dudes. They're good at what they do.
As you guys kind of go forward, Junior, what are you kind of looking for from the offense? What do you want to see the group keep improving, keep doing as you guys move on here down the season?
Just getting better, whatever your group is. So O-line, run the ball, blocking, obviously. Running backs run the ball, blocking. Receivers catching the ball, getting open, blocking, all that stuff. We just got to do what we can do and just improve offensively.
Absolutely. Well, good to have you back on the field, Junior. Thanks for being here. Congrats on the win.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Absolutely. Coming up, Riley will rejoin me here on the Griz Insider to look ahead to Eastern Washington.
Take coverage of the Griz with you. Download our app for your favorite mobile device today. Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertsons Safeway.
Welcome back to the Griz Insider. Plenty more to dive into in this show. And Kyle, it's a big matchup to start Big Sky Conference play. Montana, Eastern Washington, first trip for the Griz over there in a while. But the big thing off the top, they've never won on that red turf, 0-6. So it's going to be quite the challenge no matter what the Eagles record says.
So weird because when they met in 22, right, it's so weird when they don't meet every year.
Right.
So it's like last year having the year off. You know, it's just nice to see these two teams playing each other again because they'll never say it, but it is a de facto rivalry, right? It's a little fun.
It is fun. We can say rivalry. Coach Hauck can. Let's hear what Coach Hauck had to say about the matchup.
Well, it's interesting. We haven't been there. You know, we were there one time a few years back, late night ESPN game, and they came out and they got us by 7, if I remember right. It was a heck of a game. And then we played them in the playoffs later here and got after them pretty good. So, I don't know. It's one of those series where over the last 25, 30 years, that's a team that has kind of excelled against the Grizzlies or at least held their own, which a lot of teams haven't. So, we know we got our hands full going over there, and we need to get our road win this week.
And the Eagles, despite being 1-3, you look at their FCS losses, Kyle, both of them by 1 score. Last year, 4-7, but a lot of losses, again by 1 score, 2 of them by 3 points or less. So the Eagles have been in most of their games. What stands out to you when you start to take a look at them?
Honestly, on paper, they look exactly as you'd expect an Eastern Washington team to look. You know, one of the best offenses in the FCS, led by Kekoa Visperas at quarterback, who Griz fans saw briefly in 22 when they were here, kind of getting his first minutes there, but he's really blossomed into a nice player. This guy just does not make mistakes and also completes 80% of his passes. Then you look at some of the other guys. You have Jared Taylor, who's like kind of like their change of pace quarterback who will run the ball. Efton Chisholm III is who everybody will be watching as just kind of like their just do-all receiver, right? I mean, he's just a highlight reel waiting to happen. So offensively, they're really good. Then you flip it to defense, and it's a little bit of a different story.
Well, you look at it, and it's exactly what you can expect from Eastern, right? All the way down the line, back to the Cooper Cup days. They have the skill position players. They have the offense that can do it. It's just a matter of the defense. Can they hold the rope a little bit? We're going to find out, at least on that side of things. But Kyle, with the Eagles and just this mini rivalry that we've been talking about, obviously them at home, they're going to bring their best for Montana.
Absolutely. And as Coach Hauck mentioned, they always bring it with the Grizzlies. And they've had a lot of success. He mentioned this after the Western Carolina game, that Eastern's one of these Big Sky teams that over the years has had a lot of success against the Grizzlies. And as you mentioned, at home as well. So it's going to be a good game, but they kind of mirror Western Carolina a lot too, with that very high-powered offense, defense a little suspect. They have a better total offense than Western Carolina had in terms of yards per game, but they have a worse scoring defense. So they allow more points, maybe not as many yards, whereas Western Carolina is more bend not break. So we'll just see how that matchup kind of plays again over in Cheney.
Style of game, extremely similar to what the Grizzlies faced last week against Western Carolina, that's for sure. Well, Kyle, we finally made it. 1 extra week of non-conference this past season, but Big Sky Conference play is here. Montana will look to defend their crown and try and bring their 20th conference title home to Missoula when it's all said and done. But there's just an extra bit of excitement when we start to take a look at the conference and some of the contenders.
And as you mentioned, really, as you look at the conference play getting started, it's kind of a 5-horse race, right? You look at Montana, Montana State, Idaho, Sac State, and Davis. That's really kind of your top 5 in the conference that separated themselves early on, all ranked in the top 12 in the FCS. And this is just the best time of the year, right? We get to see these teams play each other. The Big Sky Conference, one of the best conferences in the entire FCS. Now you're going to watch contender play contender, see where everybody lines up. There's going to be some big games coming up, but even these teams that we did not mention, like in Eastern Washington, is going to cause problems because they see the Cats at home. They see the Griz at home. They could be one of these teams, and it always happens. Every single year, there's always some shuffling going on.
There's always that one team that just wreaks havoc and wrecks everything up. It will be a fun ride. We can't wait to talk about it each week with you on the Griz Insider. We'll wrap up the show next.
Welcome back to Grizzly Insider, sponsored by Albertsons Safeway.
Well, as we wrap things up here on the Grizzly Insider, it's been a blast talking football, but man, we're going to pivot to big life moments right now. Riley, very excited for you and Mikkel. We have a third Corcoran in the mix. Congrats to you guys, the new parents.
Well, appreciate it, Kyle. It was a magical week, to say the least. Beckett Marie came into the world on Wednesday, and she's changed our life for the better right away. My wife, Mikkel, I have to give a shout out. She made it to 80 consecutive Griz home games since 2012. She obviously works in the athletic department as well, so tough for her to miss it, but I said said it on the air, and it still reigns true. She had the more important job last Saturday. So it was very special for us. I appreciate you and the entire team for helping and assisting throughout the course of the week. And it certainly takes a village, but it was a special week for the Corcoran family.
Absolutely. Very exciting news, and more importantly, want to know as a Griz fan.
Best stat that we're going to say on the entire show is Beckett is want to know.
Love to see it. Well, awesome. Congrats to you guys. Good stuff. They've been working overtime, and thank you so much for joining us here on the Grizzly Insider. Montana at Eastern Washington, 6 p.m. kickoff here Mountain Time on MTN. We'll see you then. Have a great weekend.